Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying deep into the past, way back to the dawn of organized warfare. This wasn't just a random skirmish. This was a conflict between two powerful city-states, Lagash and Umma, who were locked in a bitter feud over a fertile strip of land called the Guedin. Think of it as a generations-long rivalry that finally exploded into open war. And how do we know so much about it? We have an incredible artifact called the Stele of the Vultures. It's like a stoned comic book from the ancient world, carved with images. So, forget what you've seen in movies about chaotic hordes of warriors swinging clubs. The Stele of the Vultures shows us something far more sophisticated. It reveals an army that was organized, disciplined, and lethally effective. Let's break down what these armies looked like. The core of the Lagash army was its heavy infantry. Picture this: dense formations of soldiers, standing shoulder to shoulder, protected by massive rectangular shields that interlock to form a solid wall. This is the shield wall. From behind this wall of wood and leather, they would thrust out with long spears, creating a deadly forest of sharpened points. These soldiers weren't just farmers handed a spear. They were professionals. They wore conical copper helmets, which would have gleamed in the Mesopotamian sun, and some sort of protective cloak or armor, possibly made of leather or stiffened linen. They were more like mobile command platforms or heavy shock vehicles. Inatum is depicted standing on his armed with a long spear and a sickle sword, a curved blade designed for hacking and slashing. Imagine the psychological impact of seeing the king himself, leading from the front, a visible symbol of power and divine favor, rumbling towards you on this ancient war machine. These wagons also carried a supply of javelins, turning them into mobile missile platforms. The battle itself, as depicted on the stele, was brutal and decisive. It seems to have been fought in several phases. First, you have the clash of the main infantry blocks. The two phalanxes would have met with a terrifying crash of shields and the splintering of spears. It would have been a grinding, pushing match, a contest of discipline and endurance. The goal was to break the enemy's formation. Once a shield wall buckled, chaos would ensue, and soldiers could be picked off individually. This isn't just artistic flourish, it's a statement of total domination. The text describes how Anadim heaped up their burial mounds. This wasn't a noble gesture. The vultures depicted on the stele, which give it its name, are shown flying away with the heads and limbs of the defeated Umma soldiers. This is psychological warfare at its most raw and visceral. For close quarters fighting, soldiers carried axes, or the iconic Then you had missile troops. Slingers were a crucial part of any ancient army. They would have been used to soften up the enemy formation before the main infantry clash. King Anatem's army was a combined arms force. He used heavy infantry for the main line, chariots for shock and command, and likely skirmishers to harass the enemy. Inatem forced the king of Umar to swear a sacred oath by the great gods of Sumer that they would never again trespass on the lands of Legend. He set up the stele of the vultures right on the newly re-established border as a permanent, terrifying reminder of the consequences of breaking that oath. The inscription itself is a long list of curses that will befall Umar if they ever cross the line again. This single battle, fought almost 5 millennia ago, provides an incredible snapshot of the evolution of warfare.